Well, as one international human rights group puts it, Ivory Coast has never been so close to a resumption of civil war. Gun battles and explosions shook the nation's commercial capital on Thursday. Authorities say 20 people were killed as rival supporters of two men claiming the presidency clashed in the streets. Ivory Coast has been locked in a political stalemate since last month's presidential elections. Incumbent Laurent Gbagbo and his challenger Alassane Ouattara each claims to be the legitimate winner. Well, when it comes to the international community, though, there is no controversy. It's essentially President Gbagbo against the world. His challenger has the backing of the United Nations, the European Union, the African Union and ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, amongst others. They all side with Ivory Coast Electoral Commission, which declared Ouattara the winner. Problem is, that declaration was overturned by the highest legal authority in Ivory Coast. It tossed out hundreds of thousands of votes because of alleged fraud, giving President Gbagbo the edge. Well, he says so far he seems immune to international pressure to step down, and Alassane Ouattara doesn't appear willing to give up the fight. So where do we go from here? Well, I'm joined now by Abdon, Bayeto, an advisor to the present government and president. He joins us now. Why won't he go?
I don't know why you think that he should go.
Well, everybody else does. I've just told you that.
But when you know clearly that he won the election in the Ivory Coast.
The African Union, the EU, ECOWAS and the United Nations all say he should go.
But that's classical.
He didn't win.
That's classical. They need to determine to us today where the sovereignty of a country starts and where does it finish.
Abdon, he didn't win. The Electoral Commission said he didn't win.
You had before that, on the 28th of November, elections were organized in the country. In the north part of the Ivory Coast, where people are still armed, the votes were rigged there. People were beaten up. There's even people died there. Deaf people were there. And today, the Constitutional Council decided to annul all the results of the north part of the country.
A council run by the president's men, of course.
It doesn't work like this. I mean, France and Ivory Coast, they have a carbon copy of Constitution. You nominate a person you know at the head of an institution. But let me just go further. The Independent Electoral Commission.
Independent being the operative word.
But it's still dominated by the opposition in the Ivory Coast. Majority of them is part there. Even the president is from the opposition side. Nobody. Laurent Gbagbo is a Democrat.
Let me put
this guy need to be given all appraisal for what he did.
The Botswanan president has strongly condemned the situation in Ivory Coast, and he said this, that the Laurent Gbagbo should be, and I quote, a true statesman and step aside. He says the sort of one-man rule that goes on for years is just wrong.
No, I disagree with what he's saying. President Laurent Gbagbo won the election in the country. The Supreme Court of the country ruled out the north part of the country in the voting system. It was rigged. It's not only the Ivorians who are saying it. There were some independent observers who said it, and you know that. Why are the world against Laurent Gbagbo? We don't know it. This is an atypical person. This is a person who is not in that sort of game with them. That's why they're all against him.
Okay, but we've got the UN, the EU, the African Union, importantly, presidents like the Botswanan president saying that he should go. Let me just remind our viewers what the Secretary General of the UN said earlier on today. He said he is deeply concerned that any violence now, and let's see what's going on in the streets. I mean, and people are dying on the streets. Hang on a minute.
Okay,
he said that he's deeply concerned that any violence now could have unpredictable consequences, including reigniting civil war. That was a statement from the Secretary General. Given that civil war only finished in 2002, do you really want the country reeling back to that sort of episode?
But that's the perception of the world, the international world also got on African countries. Why be very pessimistic in this issue, where a constitution of a country decided that the Supreme Court annulled a result in some part of election, and people are all funny, jumping and can't resolve. But let me go further. The United Nations, Mr. Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said that he's very worried about the situation in the Ivory Coast. But he shouldn't be worried. He's accountable for what's happening there. His special envoy...
Well, his troops are still there, of course.
But his special envoy went over his borders and declared the opposition man lead winner. But it's not his role. He went beyond his mandate to declare it. That's not him to say that, Mr.
Let's remind ourselves that there is death on the streets.
If it's not an international plot against Ivory Coast or hidden agenda, we can't see why people will do that.
Okay, I've given you your time. Amnesty International today appalled by what they call completely unjustified and disproportionate use of force, calling on the security forces to stop these killings immediately. One of their workers there said those who opened fire on these people, as well as those who gave the order, will have to account for their actions.
But that's what came to you saying that it is an international plot against Ivory Coast. There's a fact there. There's some election organized in a country. That's why I asked you early on, where the sovereignty of a country starts and where does it finish? The international world seems not to listen to the constitution of a country. We're a member of the United Nations, but it's because we're a sovereign country that we're a member in that union. Why are they not listening to us?
What happens next?
The president won the election. He just formed a strong government. He's going for good governance in the country. He's going to reunite the country. And he's thinking of developing the country. And that's the person, as I said, is very atypical. That's what the Western world is against us. But we want him as a president. We elected him as a president. The country constitution elected him, proclaimed him as a president. We want the international world to respect him as such. And then Côte d'Ivoire, we should be ahead as it is, like everybody. To think otherwise will be a form of racism, because how the democracy will be in one country the other way, and in our country, when it comes to the African country, it's different. No, that's a form of racism also.
Some of the Africans have been saying it, and so has the AU. We're going to have to leave it there. I thank you very much indeed for joining us
very much
this evening.